Sirens are not mermaids, at least not according to their origins. And if you are going to survive a siren attack, then it is important that you know the difference. Today, I bring you 5 steps to show you how to survive a siren attack. And make sure you stay for the bonus step, where I show you what to do if you come across a mermaid as well. Step 1. Know what you are facing. So, sirens are creatures from Greek mythology, first appearing in the Odyssey, one of 2 epic poems credited to Homer. The other, of course, being the Iliad. I say credited to Homer because, as far as I know, we're not even sure if Homer was a real person, but at least we say he wrote these poems, right? In the Odyssey, the sirens are described as human-like beings with alluring voices. Their siren song causes sailors who hear it to become captivated and steer their ships toward the sound where the sirens are waiting in rocky areas. The ships will inevitably crash into the rocks and get shipwrecked. The sailors will either drown, or in some cases, it is said that the sirens will grab them and eat them. Pretty grim, right? Funnily enough, Homer never actually describes what the sirens look like. He leaves it up to the imagination of the reader. By the 17th century BC, they were regularly depicted in art and stories as, pay attention to this part, half woman, half birds. That's right, not half woman, half fish, but with women's heads, bird feathers, and scaly feet. Their look did eventually evolve over time. They eventually were depicted as like the whole upper body as a woman's, and just with long, like bird-like legs, kind of like a harpy. A harpy is another creature from mythology, which was something similar. But they're different. Sirens are different to harpies that are different to mermaids. We'll get to it. Anyway, when they were depicted with woman upper bodies and bird legs, they would sometimes have wings, sometimes not. It depended on the artist, on the depiction. So let's compare that to the origin of a mermaid. I was looking it up, and mermaids originate from folklore, which means these were stories that were told by people over the years, so it's tough to figure out where exactly it originated. I mean, it's the same with sirens. I saw some historians say that actually sirens didn't originate with the Greeks, but with before that, and it was passed down by people telling stories to others until Homer was the first one to actually write it down in the Odyssey. Something similar with mermaids. I couldn't find out where they originated from, but they're in the folklore traditions of many different cultures, from Europe to Latin America to Africa to Asia. They're across all of them. Mermaids in different stories have sometimes been connected to different natural disasters like shipwrecks or storms or even people drowning, things like that. But in a lot of cases, they're mostly nice, friendly. Sometimes they give gifts. Sometimes they even fall in love with a human, like the Little Mermaid, you know? So these 2 creatures, a siren and a mermaid, are completely separate, different origins, completely different, with sirens seemingly coming into being first. But then why do people think they are the same thing? Well, the earliest example of a siren being described as a half woman, half fish that I could find was on a bowl, artwork on a bowl originating from the 3rd century BC in Athens. But in literature, it was the Liber Monstrorum. Essentially, it was a catalogue of creatures that was written about the late 7th, early 8th century AC. But even then, most people who knew about sirens thought of them as half woman, half bird creatures. They truly started to become confused with mermaids in the later Middle Ages. It started with artists just drawing different depictions of sirens that they looked like mermaids, and then just over time one artist would see another artist do it and do the same, and again and again and again, and it just became what was thought to be common knowledge when it came to sirens and mermaids, that they were the same thing. And now in modern times, if you look at any story that includes a siren, more than likely you will see that it's a mermaid with a dangerous singing voice. Yet, at the same time, in a lot of other stories, mermaids are shown as nice and friendly and even falling in love with humans and all this stuff. So what is it? Is it that the mermaids who sing are bad and the mermaids who have bad voices are good? No. And that's why this is important to differentiate for step one. You need to know who you are facing. Siren and mermaids are not dealt with the same way. They don't even look the same in most cases, it seems, but however sirens look, they are not friendly, and they will be your end if you do not take the proper precautions. Lucky for you though, it is pretty clear. Mermaid, half woman, half fish. Siren, half woman, half bird. You see, yeah, you get that? Half woman, half fish, different, and we'll talk about that in the bonus step, what to do if you see that. But half woman, half bird, you see that? Well, you're probably in trouble, because if you're that close where you can see them, unless you've already watched this video, thanks for watching by the way, then you are going to be in danger. So you need to protect yourself before you get too close to the sirens, and that brings us to step 2. Recognize where sirens are located. The writers of old seemingly can't agree where you will find the sirens. Not exactly. Let me explain. Virgil, author of the famous epic poem The Aeneid, also a fantastic story, wrote that the sirens inhabit some rocky islands named Sirenum Scopuli. They were described as sharp rocks, essentially jutting out of the sea just south to the island of Capri. Capri is an island just off the coast of Italy. Meanwhile, good old Homer, I'm a big fan of Homer by the way, if he even existed, but anyway. Homer wrote in the Odyssey that the sirens are located on some rocks jutting out of the sea in between the island of Aya, which is the island that it is said that the goddess / sorceress Circe lived. In the Odyssey, Odysseus spent a year on that island with Circe. And the rock of Scylla. Scylla is a man-eating monster, and it is said that the sirens were somewhere between them. Odysseus came across Scylla during the Odyssey. We are going deep into mythology today, aren't we? But I love it. I love it. Let's go deeper, shall we? Let's go deep. On a side note, there's a movie coming in 2026 directed by Christopher Nolan called The Odyssey, based of course on the Odyssey. It's starring Matt Damon as Odysseus. I think it has Tom Holland, Zendaya, John Bernthal. I am looking forward to it. The Odyssey is a great story, and I think Christopher Nolan is going to do it justice. Anyway, that was a side note. I'm getting distracted already. Let's focus, because you need to survive a siren. Again, wherever Aya and the Rock of Scylla are, somewhere between that, these are just off the coast of Italy. Perhaps near Paestum, which was an ancient Greek city. It located near the coast in what is now modern day Italy. Or maybe between Sorrento, another city in Italy, and the island of Capri again. Somewhere in that area. Even more writers say sirens were located on the island of Anthemoessa, which is actually a forgotten name, as in we see it in the literature, but we don't actually know which island it was the name of. But historians think that it was the name of one of the islands located in the Gulf of Naples, which is that same area. So yes, as you can see by me listing a bunch of hard to pronounce places, no one can agree exactly where the sirens are, but they can agree on 2 things. One is that sirens are located on some kind of rocky islands. It's literally how they do their damage. They attract people on ships to crash into rocks. They're on rocky islands somewhere. And the second thing that all writers can agree on is that those rocks are located in the Tyrrhenian Sea. The Tyrrhenian Sea is part of the Mediterranean Sea, just off the coast of Italy. And fortunately for you, that means you know exactly where in the world you need to be cautious of sirens and start taking precautions. So everything I tell you in all of the steps after this only applies if you are in the Tyrrhenian Sea, which leads us to step 3. Plug your ears. As soon as you enter the Tyrrhenian Sea, I want you to take a page out of Odysseus's book and plug your ears. Well, actually, that's not exactly true, because Odysseus, being the crazy menace he is, actually wanted to hear the Siren song. He wanted to know what they sang to him. So he ordered his crew to tie him to the mast so that he couldn't move, but he kept his ears unplugged. Meanwhile, the rest of the crew used beeswax that they got from Circe. It was Circe, the goddess sorceress, who warned them about this. She gave them beeswax and they plugged their ears so they couldn't hear the Siren song. If a whole crew hears the Siren song, they will all want to go. They'll just work together, steer their ship towards the song. They'll crash into the rocks, everyone dead. But if one person hears the Siren song, they will try to get the ship to go towards the sound. But if they can't, they will just jump in the sea and probably drown or get eaten. We'll go into more detail into what exactly happens when you hear the Siren song later in the video. So, if Odysseus hadn't been tied to the mast, he would have, jumped to his death essentially. But we're not gonna be silly like that. We're gonna plug our ears like the rest of the crew did. But, come on, it's modern day here. We don't need no beeswax. Let's just get some noise cancelling earphones, put them in, connect it to our phones, turn the music up to the max and rock on. We're good. We're like sailing through the Tyrrhenian Sea, vibing to the music. And the Siren song cannot affect us. However, it's tough to control everyone on a ship, and there's always that one person, that one silly person that just doesn't follow instructions. So in case that someone decides they're curious like Odysseus too, and they want to take their earphones out and listen to the Siren song, you need step 4, backup plan. If someone is being naughty and they take out their earphones, you will notice it immediately. You see, the Siren song is said to appeal to a person's deepest desires. It confuses the brain's chemical pathways and creates a euphoric, hypnotic state that overrides logic and all sense of self-preservation. Essentially, it's like taking the best, most powerful, most addictive, the ultimate feel-good drug. That's why the only way to survive this situation is to never hear the song, because once you hear the song, that's it, you're done, it's over for you. All rational thought leaves you and you only want one thing, to go where the song is coming from. If one of your crew hears the song, then they will first become extremely happy and joyful. Then they will immediately try to steer the ship to go towards the sound. Hopefully it's just one person and you can stop them. If you do stop them, they will start begging, convincing, using every skill in the book. They'll become the best used car salesman you've ever seen to try and convince you that you need to go towards the sound. But of course, you, because you actually want to live, have your ears plugged, so you can't hear them, which means the final thing they will do when they see they can't get their way is they will just run and jump overboard and try to swim towards the sirens. That's when they will either drown, because they're swimming in the middle of the ocean, or they will reach the sirens, who will very nicely help them up onto the rock before devouring them. Not a nice way to go. If you see this starting to happen, then you need to grab that crewmate, tie them down securely, make sure they can't go anywhere, and if you have the earphones, put earphones back in, turn that music up, it will be done. They'll stop hearing it. The siren song only works when you are actively listening to it. If you can't find the earphones and you can't block their ears somehow, just make sure they can't move. As long as they're tied down securely, once you get out of the earshot range of the sirens, they will be fine. Which leads me to the next step, step 5. Distance is your friend. If you actually see a siren, then you are dangerously close. Their voices can go loud. Just earplugs isn't a sure way to make sure you're safe if you're that close that you can actually see them. Because you can hear their voice when you can't yet see them. But if you're that close that you can see them, you need to get out of there now. It doesn't matter where your destination is, you can circle back later. You need to put as much distance between you and the sirens as possible immediately. And once you are far away from those dreaded, beautifully voiced death deliverers, I would still recommend you keep those earphones in until you are out of the Tyrrhenian Sea. Truly, it's just safer that way. Again, no one can agree on exactly where the sirens are or even how many they are. Maybe they're in multiple places. Homer said there were 2, other writers have said up to 6 or more. Just keep the earphones on, it's safest that way. And then once you exit the Tyrrhenian Sea or you get to land, you can safely take the earphones off and know that you have survived death. That's great. Isn't it great? There's actually a situation that you have like a good chance of survival here. Unlike my last 2 videos, how to survive a dragon and how to survive a manticore, you can actually survive this one. Oh, I love being positive. Isn't it great? But I promised a bonus step, and here it is. How to survive a mermaid attack. Mermaids, like humans, have a wide range of personalities. Some are good, some are bad, some are nice, some are shy, some are mean, some are rude, some are kind. So, if you meet a mermaid, don't automatically assume it's some evil creature that wants to eat you. It could just be another regular mermaid that's just as shocked to see you as you are to see it. Be nice, talk to it, show it you mean no harm whatsoever. But if you do come across a mermaid that wants to hurt you, then you have to negotiate. If you have the chance, ask them why they want to hurt you, why they're attacking you, what do they want? Apologize to them if you have done something to offend it. Even if it's not offensive in your opinion, if the mermaid says it's offended, be honest, say, I'm really sorry, I didn't know that was a problem, I apologize, try and make amends. If they have a problem, maybe you caused a problem, maybe they have a problem and they're taking it out on you, whatever it is, maybe offer to help them, try and help them, try and make a friend, try and work together. You know, species to species, we should be kind to one another. But if all of that fails, you need to get a land. But more than likely, if you're seeing a mermaid that wants to attack you, you're in the water, you're at sea, and there's no way you can outswim the mermaid. That's like saying a mermaid can outrun us on land. No, you can't outswim a mermaid. Which means if the mermaid truly does want to hurt you and negotiation does not work, there is only one option. Become a mermaid slayer. I like mermaids, I really do. But just like humans have their Ted Bundys, mermaids have their crazies too. But remember, they are flesh and blood just like us. Use whatever weapon you have if you have to fight. Go for their eyes, go for their gills if they have them. Some do, some don't, depends on the type of mermaid. Go for their tails and fins, that affects their mobility in the water. If you do get a good hit on the tail, then you may be able to swim to land, boat, etc. if you're close enough. Otherwise, if it's not working, then, you know, do what you gotta do. Fight like your life depends on it, because it probably does if the mermaid's trying to actually hurt you. Think of it like this. What would you do if you were in the middle of nowhere and a crazy person came up trying to hurt you? You would fight to the best of your ability. Well, do that with the mermaids. They don't have anything over you except for the fact that the same way we're comfortable on land, they're comfortable in the water. You are at a disadvantage, sure, but you just have to fight as hard as you can, and the same things that hurt on us hurt on them. And if you win the fight, get out of there. Swim away, sail away, paddle away, whatever you need to do, because you do not want more mermaids to come find you next to the corpse of one of their own. Just get out of there. And there you have it. We cleared up the difference between sirens and mermaids, and we came across two situations that it's actually possible to survive. I'm feeling good. Are you feeling good? I'm feeling good, honestly. If you don't like feeling good for some reason and you want to know what it's like to be hopeless in the face of danger, then check out this video right here.